So over a year and a half ago, I created the video, the best level 100 storm gear. And at the time, level 100 was the cap, and I basically just showed off my complete Darkmoor set because I was really proud of that. And I just kind of showed the culmination of all my gear at the time. Since then, we've hit the level 110 cap, and we've had Polaris. So there's been a lot of changes with gear since, a year and a half ago. But this video is going to be the updated video to that one, and it's kind of late because I should have made it way earlier this year, after Polaris came out, but never got around to it. I don't really know why. But this is going to be the 110 top gear for Storm right now in PvE mostly. I have two different sets that I'm going to be looking at, my Storm boss set and a critical set. So if you want a lot of critical, this one will definitely help you out for Storm. And this one's more like a baseline set for some good resist and some block. So with the Storm boss set, I have 125 damage and 49 resist. So this is actually a lot of resist for Storm going into like a boss fight because it helps me stay alive longer and still be able to deal a good amount of damage. Having over 30% accuracy for a Storm right now is not that hard at all because you can get over 30% just by using the Mouster boots and the Mouster cloak. You will instantly have 100% accuracy for Storm. So that's pretty good. You can use other jewels if you want to, but for me, I usually go with the power pips, which I'll show you when I show my jewels. 510 is the critical rating. That gives me about 51%, so I'll crit half the time. And then block, 56%, almost 400. So mostly going for high block, and I mean not super high block. That's high for a Storm in terms of block, unless I'm putting on. I have the amulet, the rat amulet that I can put on that will give me more block, which maybe I'll show that at the end of this gear set as we go through it. 38 on the armor piercing, over 100% power pip, shadow pip, 5%, and then some incoming. So that's basically the stats for this one. I'm using the Mouster gear from Darkmoor as the main 3. See that. And then for the wand, I'm using the Fortune Teller's Eternal Gaze at 110. I have the other ones and I've compared them numerous times to see if using a different one would be better. This one, the new one from the Immortal Pack, has the square jewel slot, and you could argue that it would be, better to use, but I don't really know what I would even put in the square. Maybe a 5% resist or stun resist jewel. That that might be something that I would consider using. I definitely wouldn't put a block because, I feel like the block is already, I have enough block. I 7%, it's not even 7%, just a 7 block jewel wouldn't help me too much. And I'd rather get the extra 1% damage that the Fortune Teller's Gaze has anyway. So I use this staff all the time. You can also argue the Rapture Rider's Skull, but still I really just like the Fortune Teller's better because I feel like the stats are more rounded out. So that's the one that I use, 110 for that. And then the Dragon's Talon of Tumult is from Darkmoor, and you can compare it to the Blade of the Shadow Palace, which is from Morganth. And I feel like this one, I just use it all the time, mostly because I have just the correct jewel sockets for this. I could use the Blade of the Shadow Palace and unlock the sockets and put in, 6% pierces and some health and most likely another power pip. But the only advantage is that you get the extra 1%. That's the only reason I would do it. The Dragon's Talon gives you 2% power pip, 2% accuracy, 1 more block, which is great. No, I'm kidding. And then some outgoing. So I feel like the Dragons gives you a little better stats because you're not going to use 27% outgoing on the Blade of the Shadow Palace. That stat might as well not even be there unless you use Healing Current. And 50% incoming can actually make a difference. So for me, Dragon's Talon of Tumult is the best one to use. Amulet, I use the Morganth Amulet, which has some crit, block, and resist. And then I've socketed on the 7 block and the max pip, or not pip, the max health opal. So I've used that one forever. If I wanted to go for a lot of block, I could use the rat one. And if you look, that brings my block up to 435, which is 65%. So that gives us I think a 10% or more increase in the block. So could use that if I really wanted to block, if I never wanted to get crit on. I mean, there's still a chance I get crit on, but if I want to create a less likely chance that I get crit on, I could use this, but it drops the critical. And what else does it drop? It actually gives me a little more resist. So this is like my ultra defensive storm set right now. If I wanted to, I could use this. Still have decent damage, but I wouldn't really crit as much as I would like as a storm. So that's an option, but I'll be using this one most of the time. So onto the rings, Alpha and Omega. I've used this ring forever. I just think it's one of the best, and I've compared other rings to it, even like the Morganth one, which I don't have on me, but I feel like it's just better. 10% damage is really good, some block, and then I've socketed on it another pierce, and I could put a better health opal if I wanted to, but 95 is still fine. I should probably just spend some of my arena tickets. Yeah, I have enough. I'll just upgrade that because I use it all the time, so I might as well just put the better health opal. But that's the one I use. For pet, this is what we got for my defensive one with the resist and some block, and then creating a little bit of damage. And then Battle Narwhal is always my go-to because 2% damage. Who doesn't want 2% damage on a storm? For the decks, I have both of the good rat decks for storm. This is the square socket one, and then I also have the triangle socket one. I use this one if I need a little more power pip if I'm running out. I think I use this one on my critical set, which we'll look at. But for this one, for the defensive one, I use the block one, the square jewel slot. Moving on, we have the storm critical set, which is my go-to. I use this one all the time when I'm questing or helping people, or even in like some boss fights when I know that I'm probably not going to die or someone can heal me, then I just go critical set because it's easier. It just makes everything easier when you can crit for a ton. 793 is the crit, and this provides well over 100% critical chance, so you crit every single time, and it just depends if the enemy blocks or not. So that's where we're at on that. Block is pretty much nothing because, well, we sacrifice block in order to have a lot of crit. 20 armor piercing, not a ton, but that also is a downfall of this one. But we have 121 damage, and then 42 resist to the elementals, and then 22 to everything else. So 34 accuracy, so we can have that 100%, over 100% for our storm spells. But power pips are actually 100%. I don't know, I have the wrong deck on this one. There we go. So that will bring it to 103 for the power pips, and then everything else is pretty much the same. So this is my go-to set that I use when I just want to crit all the time and not really care. I mean, good for just regular mob fights. Basically any fight that I know that I don't need to be that defensive on. I've used this setup on Shane when I know that people can, you know, heal, or actually Shane you don't really even want to heal. I use this one on Shane just because I want to be able to crit through Shane. The highest chance to be able to crit through him, and I could use this. I think there's other things that I could use. If I wanted to just go all out crit, I could use this 866, but it brings down my damage by 10%. So that's the reason that I just like the Alpha and Omega, because 10% damage can go a long way. So Jack Hallows, oh, I didn't actually look at all this. For the hat, we have the crafted one in Chrysalis, the Hood of the Desert Rains, which gives 194 critical, and then a little bit of storm resist too. And then Malister Cloak, I just use that one as like the default. The Majora's Shoes of Fortitude are from the rat. They're basically the crit boots. They give 113 crit and 25% damage, so that's pretty good. And then Jack Hallows Whaler is from the Halloween packs, which will be back shortly in, you know, less than 2 months. And we'll see that, actually not even too much, about a month now, because we're almost in September. So those will be out soon, but this wand is just the ultimate crit wand, 223 for Storm. And then everything else is kind of the same. Alpha and Omega. My pet is my damage and crit pet. Right there, we got Sparky, which, just an overall, I mean, this is pretty much a default Storm pet, let's be honest here. Triple crit, triple damage. So, been using him for a long time. And then the Narwhal and the Power Pip. So, that's basically all the gear sets that I use on my Storm. I also have a PvP one, which I guess I would use if I did a tournament, which I haven't done a tournament in a long time. The only difference in that is that I would use the Duelist Fatal Razor and the Duelist Daredevil Ring are the things I would change, and usually I go with my Samson for the PvP sets, unless I want to go full crit, which doesn't really matter now because crit only does 1.25 damage. So that is going to do it for this Storm setup for 110. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like if you did. Maybe I'll do my life one, which the life set will be more defensive, like a Jade set, because there is the new, what is it called? The new gear from the Immortal set. Well, I don't have it on this one, but I think there's a robe that is actually comparable to the Jade robe. So if you guys want to see that, leave a like on this one, leave a comment, let me know if you guys want to see the 110 life, because I might as well do both of these, and just so I have those, because I don't want to like miss out on it and then we get a level increase this year and then it's kind of irrelevant. But that's going to do it. So hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe for more Wizard videos, and I'll see you all next time.